What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Am I the Butthole? And if you'd like to skip that initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, so please feel free to use them, and let's just crack straight on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from OK Stairs 3264. Titled, Am I the Arsehole for breaking my promise to my stepkids and abandoning and traumatizing them because I did not want to parent them anymore? I met Will when I was 22. Will was 29 with 2 kids and had newly been widowed. We had a whirlwind courtship where he introduced me to the kids and got me involved in their lives very early. First few days after I met him, Will said very quickly he was sure I was the one, not only for himself but also for his kids, that would have an incredible, happy family life. We got married when I was 23, Will was 30, and his kids were 8 and 6. Our wedding ceremony also included me and the kids making promises to each other, which was Will's idea. Soon Will shoved all the childcare onto me. I wasn't a stay-at-home spouse, I worked full-time and always have, but he always had reasons for me to do the childcare. Him being sore from doing a physical job, me being better at it since I babysat kids this age in the past and he never had, or girl stuff for his daughter, or cooking or anything. He always had some reason and it ended up always on me. He started playing video games and relaxing from getting home until bed because he was tired and he was bringing in the money and keeping the roof over everyone's heads, though that wasn't really true. He said he deserved to relax. Then he went out with his friends or brought them back to drink beer and watch loud TV. He developed a major attitude with me and encouraged same in the kids. They found it funny. He started openly disrespecting me and encouraged them to also. He was the ultimate fun dad and I got put in the role of the mean witch. Sometimes they all ganged up on me and mocked me, but also all expected me to serve them and constantly be jumping up to care for them. By the end of the first year, I realized the marriage was a big mistake, but felt guilty leaving because of my promises to the kids. Another year went by and I realized that no matter how I tried and how I knew they were only kids, I didn't really blame them. I genuinely hated both of the kids, and I could not lie to myself anymore and pretend that I loved them. I did not, and I never would. One day I just walked out, packed up everything of mine, and moved out while nobody was at home. I left a note explaining it wasn't working and said goodbye. That was the end. Cue shitstorm from my ex and a bitter divorce, but we both walked away with what we went into the marriage with. Not much for either of us. I'd never legally adopted the kids, so I had no rights or responsibilities about them and never reached out to any of them again. Honestly, I was overjoyed to be rid of all of them. 15 years have gone by and that seems like a lifetime ago, or another person's life, but I'm still in my 30s. I was recently shocked to get a message from Tamara, Will's daughter, now 25. Tamara said I betrayed and traumatized her for life for abandoning them after my promises to them. She said I had a responsibility to never leave no matter what. I know she remembers the horrible way she treated me though. Holdfast02 on this one says, not the arsehole. There is never a responsibility to never leave. That's ridiculous. Sure, a 10-year-old may reasonably think so, but a 25-year-old should know better. Cup of Cursed Tea says, not the arsehole. Your husband didn't want a wife. He chose a younger woman and whisked her off her feet to be his live-in maid, nanny and cook. He knew what he was doing, and when he asked you to make that promise to the kids, emotionally manipulating you into saying even though he treated you like crap. It's sad that the children lost their mother, but their father encouraged them to treat you like their evil stepmom was cruel to both you and them. Clearly the behaviour he showed continued after he left, and he kept telling Tamara and her brother how awful you were. You got yourself out of there. Well done for being strong and wise enough to do so. Many people don't have the strength to do that. Stephen Knows Nothing says, message her back and explain it was a toxic marriage, that their dad set you up to be the family punching bag and nanny, that he wasn't looking for love or a partner but a doormat, and he encouraged you and the kids to do the same. Tell her their hang-ups are their own, and then say that you are done with that chapter of your life and will never again allow their father to drag your life down. Not the arsehole. Those kids have been fed lies and delusions about what that marriage was like. To which Mrs. Knutson says, and replies to that comment saying, OP, if I were you, I would not do this. You were with their dad for like 3 years, 15 years ago. I would ignore this comment and just block her or put it on private or whatever and just continue on with your life. No sense in dragging this all back up after you moved on so long ago, and don't let her anger make you feel guilty. You are not at fault here, and nothing you can say is going to help at this point. She's going to have to do her own work to get over what her dad did / put them through. And until she is ready to see any of that, nothing you say is even going to penetrate her skull, and you're just wasting your breath. Odd Increase says, not the arsehole, good for you for leaving. Good for you for not attempting to talk to him in advance. Good for you for not getting sucked in by more lies. Good for you for not letting yourself get strung along any longer. Sorry the kids didn't have anyone other than this dude, but blaming that on you is going way too far, and I hope you can just ignore that message and any others she sends. The Riker Maneuver says this girl has spent well over a decade being told how you abandoned them and that all their problems are her fault, not their father's. Everything was your fault. All the bad women their father brought home after you is your fault because you left. I guarantee their father has been driving this home for years and years, so you can't really blame her for feeling the way she feels. She's been brainwashed her entire life, and no amount of logic or maturity is going to convince her otherwise. Best to just ignore her and let her go on believing what she believes, because nothing is ever going to change her mind, one way or the other. Not the arsehole. And one more from Spit Don't Quit, who says, not the arsehole. The dad blamed his shitty parenting on his job and had you do everything. With you leaving, it has just further showed how incompetent Will was. But instead of ever taking responsibility, Will blamed it on you, and now Tamara blamed you too. It was never your fault. Will took advantage of you and is gaslighting his own children. I'm glad you left. Block Tamara and keep doing what you got to do with your life. And one more from Maddie215, who says, it was a bad situation all around. He was too rushed in marrying after his wife died. Obviously wanted a mum for his kids and a maid for himself. You were too young and inexperienced to realise what the rush was all about, because it felt like true love to a young lady. Tamara was traumatized. She was a young child who lost her mum, and then her stepmom just walked out. She could not have understood what was going on and why you had to just leave when it was just abandonment. Now, in our world of self-care and mental health discussions, Tamara is dealing with her issues and the childhood experiences that shaped her. She needs to do this. She has said her piece. Move on now. No judgment for who is or is not an arsehole, because this is too complicated to be reduced to that. Now, what are your thoughts on this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to the next one. And our next story is from Euphoric Inevitable 28. Am I the arsehole for reminding my sister she was deemed not fit to adopt when she tried to adopt one of my twins? Me and my sister Mia both suffer from fertility issues. I made peace with it long ago, but Mia always wanted kids, so she and her husband kept trying. From IVF to adoption, all of them resulted in a dead end. I recently found out that I was 2 months pregnant with twins. My partner Kyle and I were surprised but happy. I called up my sister and told her the news and said I was going to announce it to the family at a gathering at my house. I expected her to be angry, as she has been with her other family members for getting pregnant, and told her it was okay if she couldn't come and felt it would be too much for her. Surprisingly, she said she was okay and therapy had helped and agreed to come. So 3 days ago, I hosted a family gathering at our place and announced it via watching pictures on a projection screen, the last photo being my ultrasound. Immediately, all family members looked at me and they understood. All of them congratulated me and Carl, including Mia and her husband. Mia kept really close to me throughout the gathering and asked me to see the ultrasound multiple times, which me and Carl brushed off to her being happy for me. That night, Mia called me and said she had something important to say. She wanted to adopt one of the twins. I was appalled. I said I'm not giving my twins up for adoption. She kept trying to encourage me to give in and said it would be the right thing to do since we were twins as well. I was getting pissed off and told her I couldn't even if I wanted to, since all adoption agencies had rejected her application and deemed her unfit to raise a child. She started crying, called me a bitch and said I didn't deserve to be a mother and wished the children not to be born to a mother like me. I hung up at that. Since then, mother and some paternal aunts who also suffer from the same fertility issues have been texting and messaging me, calling me inconsiderate and selfish. Kyle, my dad, and maternal family are with me on this. My mother says we didn't plan the baby, it wouldn't hurt to give away one of the twins, especially when she would still be in the family. I have seen Mia break down during other relatives' pregnancy announcements and be hysterical. I genuinely thought she was okay with my pregnancy after her being in therapy, but apparently not. Still, I did say those things to her knowing it would hurt her. Some maternal aunt said it was probably a mood swing, but I don't know. Am I the arsehole? What? What? Am I the only one finding that absolutely insane? That's crazy to give up one of your children. Oh yeah. Like that's a perfectly normal request, and I understand, twin sister may be going through some stuff, especially now you're pregnant with the twins, but to give up one of your children, and some of the family members saying, yeah, you're inconsiderate and selfish for not considering it either. I mean, what the fuck? You kidding me? Absolutely not the arsehole to me. And I sort of do wonder, if she was willing to make that request, family was willing to go down that path as well, is it going to end just there? I don't know, but let's check out some comments to see what they say. With Lyra, who says, not the arsehole, and you need to move somewhere that she doesn't have the address. It's very, very likely will not stop here. It will escalate and it will get horrible. I'm so sorry you're dealing with that insanity. Jesus Christ, I'd be putting immediate distance as much as possible between us after that. ETA, what the hell is all the comments that say everyone sucks here because of what she said? She wasn't expressing her opinion, she was reiterating a fact that had just become suddenly relevant as her sister was actively proving the point in front of her. She was acting wildly unfit to be around children, and OP said so. Not surprising at all, since her twin was not giving up on asking for a baby. And Royally Oki says not the arsehole, what an utterly ridiculous request. Who on earth would willingly hand over their baby to a relative upon request? You are simply giving Mia a dose of reality. Queenie says not the arsehole, I'm so sorry you're going through this, but Mia's fertility issues are not your issues, and she has absolutely no right to ask you to give up one of your children. I would strongly recommend you go low/no contact with your family for the duration of your pregnancy, both for your safety and your sister's mental health. Geeky Daydreamer says, what the heck did I just read? Not the arsehole. What's wrong with part of your family telling you to give up your own child? It's not a doll that you can give away without a problem. It's a child. And we'll have a couple more, one from Redoubtable Self who says, not the arsehole, I'm sorry, but the fact that she'd asked for one of your twins just proves she's not in a healthy mental state to raise children. No sane person asks that. Some people might say it was going too far to mention it, but until she acknowledges the level of crazy she's going to over her infertility and gets help for it, she will never reach a mental state fit enough for raising kids. I'd also seriously be questioning whether or not any family members who are siding with her to have anything to do with your babies. They're just as insane. Last one from Sam Spade PI who says, alright, let me unpack this a little. So telling her she is unfit to raise a child is typically a terrible thing to say. Adoption centres reject all sorts of applicants, even people who would be wonderful parents all of the time, because of medical issues, former addiction problems, religious issues if it's faith-based adoption, or even if the social worker thinks the applicants are really yearning for a biological child and consider the adoption child to be a replacement. But even if you secretly agree she'd be an unfit parent, it's a terrible thing to tell anyone. However, she was insisting you, a pregnant woman, had to give her one of your babies. That's even more horrible, and clearly it triggered absolutely every mama bear instinct you have. So while it's not something you should have said, I'll give you a not the arsehole. Your arseholishness was justified. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Holy moly. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we move on to the next one. And our next story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for jokingly correcting my co-worker's wife? I, 26 female, have worked with my co-worker, Josh, 29 male, for about 6 years. We spent 12 to 15 hour shifts together 5 to 6 days out of the week, and we've gotten to know each other pretty well. He even invited me to his wedding and his daughter's first birthday. I'd say we're pretty close. He voiced some grievances about his marriage and home life with me, and I've done the same. This recent past week he invited me and some other co-workers to a dinner at his house as a going away party. He's leaving our district to take a better position in the company. His wife was talking about how happy she is he's moving up in his career and how they always talk about how he wants to do more. The conversation rolled into her talking about how they're so close and that he's practically his best friend and no one could ever know him better. I laughed since I spend most of the time with him on paper and asked if she knew what he had for lunch the other day. She chuckled and said spaghetti. She was right and I laughed it off. Everyone appeared to be uncomfortable, as she once again reiterated they knew each other best. I laughed and told her I spent more time with him than her. It's crazy how she knew so much. The night continued, but this past 2 days Josh hasn't spoken to me, and when I asked him if I'd done something, he told me my behaviour at dinner was rude and unfair to him and his wife. He hasn't spoken to me after this, and I'm wondering if I'm truly in the wrong. Now, in this one, it just feels like you're kind of like jealous. In this one, you're jealous of the wife, and it was totally wrong of you, like to be trying to test his wife at the dinner table, and clearly you made everyone uncomfortable, and you even noticed that. So yes, you're going to be the arsehole in the situation. It's a very simple one to me, and it does sound very jealous and bitter. But trying to be helpful here says, you're the arsehole. What could you possibly have gotten to gain by that, besides making his wife feel bad and insecure? Everything you say should check 2 or 3 boxes. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Your comment was 0 out of 3. To which I'm fine please thanks replies to that saying, I know your husband better than you know your husband, was the intent of OP's comment, and this whole post seems to be an attempt from OP to seek validation on that, since she spends most time with him and he sometimes vents to her, so she must automatically know him best. It sounds like OP is jealous of this guy's wife. I cannot imagine what else would compel OP to act like this. Shine and Spark says you're the arsehole. 1. Incorrect title. 2. There wasn't any joke. 3. Testing his wife with questions about his lunch. 4. There wasn't anything to correct, as she was right about what he had for lunch. 5. Thinking that the amount of time spent together in one day means you know more about him. Lizzie says you're the arsehole. What the hell were you trying to prove? You sound jealous. And Howard Project says you're the arsehole. You literally told his wife you know him better than she does, and you're not sure if that was wrong. Now, what do you guys make of this story? I think it's jealousy, but what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we move on to the next story. And our next story is from Legitimate Scar 8747. Am I the arsehole for not wanting my fiance's grandmother, 98 female, at our wedding? My fiance, 30 male, and I, 28 female, are getting married next month. Everything is going great, but we've been having a serious argument about having his grandmother at our wedding. We've agreed to not have kids at our wedding, as we want the reception to be a huge party for our adult friends and family with dancing, loud music, and an open bar. However, for precisely the same reasons, we don't want kids there. I don't want his elderly grandmother at our wedding either. I said she can come to the ceremony but not the reception. It will be extremely loud and I want it to be a party atmosphere, and she will be extremely out of place. For context, none of my grandparents are still alive, and he still has his last living grandmother. This has caused a huge fight, since she said she always dreamed about being at her grandson's wedding. He is her oldest grandchild, and she probably won't make it to the next family wedding. Which is why I said that she's more than welcome at the ceremony, but she will just be too out of place at the reception. She and he both insist that she will be fine and wants to go to the party, but I just know it will inevitably lead to us dealing with her and taking care of her, and I just want to get drunk and let loose with my friends. She's now really upset and won't talk to me. My fiance is also angry. I think I'm within my right to make this request. I am the bride. Oh no, after all, am I the arsehole? I went to a wedding probably less than a week ago, all family there, lots of elderly relatives there as well. It was a party atmosphere afterwards, let me tell you. And the fact that you're putting grandma in the child's category here, it just makes you the arsehole. I know your husband wants his grandma there, she wants to be there, she's an adult, she can make her own decisions, and if you're that worried about taking care of her, have someone look out for her. I'm sure there's going to be lots of other family relatives there, someone who can just look out for her if she needs it. And it sounds like you're almost stepping into Bridezilla territory, or has she? Stop treating Granny like a child, let her enjoy the wedding as well, and let your husband have his grandma there. Absolutely. So you're the arsehole. But Essex Catwoman says you're the arsehole, not sure how you could be more the arsehole to be honest. You're hearing the love of your life say this is important. You're hearing someone really important to your partner say this is important, and you're putting getting drunk ahead of that. For fuck's sake. She's been a grown adult longer than you've been alive. I'm pretty sure she can handle any tiredness and noise as she wishes. If I was your partner, I'd be noticing the red flags. King Pete says you're the arsehole, she's not a kid and you won't have to take care of her. Honestly, this will be enough for me to call the wedding off. Get over yourself. And Chicky Tendy says, "You're the arsehole. Dude, I understand kids because it's not a good environment for them, but let the grandmother come. She's a grown-ass woman and knows weddings are a party. Make sure somebody is there to help her with anything she needs and make sure it's not your responsibility. That's literally how simple it is." Zorgas says, "My sister had her grandmother-in-law at the wedding. It was very much a nighttime dance party type thing. Lots of younger men fawned over her and one kept dancing old-fashionedly with her. The old lady died the next year and had mentioned the wedding often and how much fun she had. You're the arsehole. If it's that loud, then parent generation won't enjoy either. Weddings aren't only about the bride, you know." And one more from Galaxan Flux who says, "You realise he gets a say too, right? Being the bride doesn't give you the ultimate veto power, and your wedding isn't supposed to be about getting drunk with your friends. It's about celebrating your relationship and being welcomed into your partner's family. You want to get drunk with your friends without your partner or his grandmother to worry about? Do it at your bachelorette party where you get 100% control. You're the arsehole." Now, what do you guys make of this story? Do you agree with OP? There might be some. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and your verdicts on all of today's stories. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending 20 minutes all the time with the channel, getting involved, seeing the same names, the same people turning up every single day. And I know there's a lot of lurkers who listen to the videos every single day as well, listen to the podcast as well. It all makes a huge difference to me, and I can never ever thank you enough for what you do. Thank you so much for your love, support and time, and I will see you cheeky so-and-sos in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.